The night before we were supposed to file the marriage certificate, my fiancé crashed the Porsche I'd given him. I happened to be driving past and saw a disheveled woman curled in his arms. His buddies laughed. Backseat hookup? You're filing the papers tomorrow and you're still playing this wild? Chloe just got back, he couldn't help himself. The next second, my phone rang. Serena, I've had an accident. Let's postpone the certificate tomorrow. I hung up calmly and dialed another number. Dad, I agree to the strategic alliance marriage. I'll get married tomorrow. Before we go on, subscribe to this channel and tell us in the comments where you're listening from. When Dylan saw me, shock flashed in his eyes, quickly followed by panic. He immediately shook off Chloe's hand and stepped back a full yard. Chloe shot me a glare, then turned to Dylan and cooed, "Be gentle, that hurts." She shook out her wrist, rubbed her neck, and deliberately tugged her collar lower, determined that I not miss the hickeys. Serena, Rowan time no see. Dylan's shirt was untucked, buttons misaligned. I hit the sting and answered, I was passing after an errand. He lifted a brow, not the least bit flustered to see me. Chloe flew home, I picked her up after overtime. The crash was an accident. Perfect timing, you're here. She's hurt, I'm taking her to Sterling Vance. We'll postpone next week's dream wedding. In the past, if he and Chloe stood an inch closer than proper, I'd cry and scream. But now, with both of them disheveled in front of me, I stayed perfectly calm. I asked, postpone for how, Rowan? Thinking I was throwing a tantrum, he frowned angrily. Don't look half dead. The second Chloe's better, I'll marry you. The injury Chloe was milking was nothing more than a scraped forehead. I was driving, so I'm liable. You can fuss any other night, when it's time to be generous, drop the princess act. At that moment his impatience mortified me and turned my heart to ash. Fie. Years of love couldn't outshine the old flame who once dumped him for money. My voice stayed level, stubborn. How, Rowan, is the postponement? His face grew even more annoyed. TBD, whenever I get this sorted. I studied him for a Rowan beat, then nodded. Fine, you set the date. Postpone as Rowan as you like. The wedding stays on schedule, only the groom changes. Stop looking half dead. As soon as Chloe heals, I'll absolutely marry you. I'm taking Chloe to the hospital. Have someone tow the car. Without waiting for an answer, he draped an arm over Chloe and left, but their joking floated back on the night wind. Watch, no matter how Rowan I stall, she'll still beg me to marry her. Serena's crazy about me, she can't live without me. This time, he miscalculated. Nobody wants to be a doormat girlfriend forever. I called my assistant to handle the scene. On the way home I phoned my father. Dad, next week's ceremony is on, but I'm switching grooms. I accept the alliance. Dad hesitated, then asked gravely, marriage isn't child's play. You certain? I'm sure, Dad. You were right, an orchid doesn't belong with a weed. Back home, I opened my phone and saw Chloe's Instagram icon light up. I tapped it. 5 years apart and he treats me the same. Today's fender bender was minor, but he rushed me to the hospital, terrified the wound might close before we arrived. Below it Dylan had replied like a love-struck fool, 5 years, 10, even 100, whenever you need me, I'll be there. My stomach lurched. The engagement photos on the wall burned my eyes. I found scissors, sliced every picture to bits, dumped them in the trash, then booked movers overnight, paying double, to haul all of Dylan's things out. After that I listed the penthouse for sale. By the time I finished, dawn was breaking. Exhausted, I collapsed into bed. When I woke it was already afternoon. I checked my phone, over 100 missed calls from Dylan. I ignored them. Freshly showered, I was greeted by Rowan storming in with Dylan trailing behind. Turns out Dad had PR blast the cancellation at breakfast. Serena, marriage isn't a game. You can't abuse your family's power and disrespect the groom's side. It's only a car accident, postponed, not cancelled. Your tantrum makes the Rowans look like fools. I rolled my eyes. You say postpone and I'm supposed to jump? That would humiliate the Vance name even more. Dylan glared, furious. You publicly agreed to delay while sicking the media on me. Classic having your cake and eating it. How many times must I say it? I only see Chloe as a sister. She was hurt, I'm helping her recover. You'd forbid even that? Serena, I'm seriously disappointed in you. I looked at him, oddly serene. Dylan, I'm disappointed in you, too. Keep nursing Chloe as Rowan as you want. Let's call off the engagement. Dylan stood stunned. Rowan's face flushed crimson. Serena, you've gone too far. You begged our family for this marriage, not the other way around. Unless you release a statement admitting you acted out, I will never approve of you marrying Dylan. With that she stomped off, expecting me to chase. Dylan stared down at me, arrogant as ever. Grow up, Serena. Using a broken engagement to blackmail me? I'll give you one last chance. Go apologize to my parents and beg their forgiveness. If they don't forgive you, I absolutely will not marry you. Dylan's conceit was the confidence I'd handed him for 5 years. A pampered heiress raised in a castle, I'd met the aloof class monitor in college and took it as a challenge. The more Dylan rejected me, the harder I pursued. To get close, I humbled myself before his parents. The princess waded into rice paddies barefoot, rolled up her pants and learned to transplant seedlings. Dylan and his parents became convinced I couldn't live without him. To win him, I gave up my dream of acting, switched to business, took over Vance, and turned down every strategic alliance. My father proposed. Thank God it wasn't too late. Even after deciding to break it off, 5 years of memories still hurt. I couldn't eat or sleep. When Zoe heard, she played hooky from work and dragged me to Sterling Vance, afraid I'd get sick. Of course we bumped into Dylan and Chloe. Dylan, without the money you wired me every month my mom would have died and I couldn't have finished college. Chloe's voice drifted from the waiting area. Now I've graduated and found work. Stop worrying about me. If Serena finds out, it'll be bad. Go apologize to Serena. A man as outstanding as you should stand on top of the world, not share a cramped rental with me. I'll marry no one but you in this life. I don't care if people call me the other woman, as rowan as it's for you. Chloe, you're the one who suffers. My heart twisted as if a blade had slid between the ribs. So all those part-time jobs he worked in college were to bankroll Chloe and her mother, while I idiotically funneled him money through creative Venmo transfers. Zoe shot to her feet, shaking with rage, finger stabbing at Chloe. Shameless bitch, aren't you afraid lightning will strike? You announce you're going to be a mistress, what is it with you and stealing? Serena, are you done? I already told you, the minute Chloe's injury is better we'll have the wedding. I've explained it over and over, Chloe's just a little sister to me, we never crossed any lines. What do you mean trailing me to the hospital to spy? Zoe lunged again, I caught her arm. I lifted my gaze and swept the two of them. Dylan, I felt lousy and Zoe came with me for a checkup, that's all. You think I'm 3? Dylan sneered. Serena, don't forget, when I drove Chloe to the hospital last time you used the same I feel sick trick to keep me, and now you're pulling it again? He tucked Chloe behind him. But this time I'm not abandoning her. The wedding is only postponed, don't push your luck. Until this moment I'd always belie. Dead their lingering attachment was my fault for not being good enough. If I were sweeter, more understanding. But watching him shield her now, I finally saw how delusional my love had been. Love is love. No love is no love. Dylan does not love me. Believe me or don't, I really feel sick, that's why I'm here. I didn't back down, my eyes ice cold. Dylan, I'm formally notifying you, our wedding is cancelled. From now on we go our separate ways. Whether you call Chloe your baby sister or you're only driving her to a doctor is none of my business. You could stage another backseat hookup right in front of me and I still wouldn't care. Dylan's face contorted in shock, brows knitted, yet he forced a rebuttal. Serena, you can stuff your face with anything, but not words. How many times do I have to say I just gave her a ride after work? Nothing happened. Chloe seized the moment, all grievance. Dylan, go home. My injury's nothing, marrying Vance is what matters. Afraid Chloe would vanish, Dylan gripped her hand. Chloe, don't worry. You were hurt in my car and I'll take responsibility, no one can stop me. Chloe threw me a fake troubled glance. But, Dylan's face darkened. Ignore her. She's been spoiled rotten since childhood, selfish to the bone. Chloe gave a delicate nod while flashing me a victory smirk. I'd reached my limit. You keep calling me selfish, well, I'd hate to disappoint you. I phoned my assistant. Send security and kick these two out. No doctor is allowed to treat them. Dylan's expression turned savage. Serena, are you out of your mind? This isn't your company. What makes you think you can throw us out? Forget that half the elite hospitals in Riverdale belong to my uncle? Guess whose side he'll pick? Business here is all power alliances, every sector intertwined. My own family owns hospitals, I'd only come to uncle's to keep my parents from worrying. Dylan switched hospitals precisely so my parents wouldn't catch wind of it. He did. And no, this one belongs to my uncle. Security arrived fast. Rowan, please leave. Dylan hadn't expected me to act. His eyes were poison-tipped. Serena, sure you want to sink this low? I'll give you one chance, take it back and apologize in public, or I'll never forgive you. Please don't forgive me. Throw them out right now and blacklist them forever. Dylan roared, humiliated. Serena, don't you dare regret this. It's not the only hospital in town. Let's go. He dragged Chloe toward the exit. I chased them to the parking garage. Stop. He turned, smug. Serena, I knew you'd regret it and come running, but it's too late. Apologize to Chloe and me in the lobby or I'll never speak to you again. Looking at his deluded confidence, I wondered what brain disease I'd had to turn a social climbing opportunist into a wannabe CEO. I smiled coldly. Sorry to disappoint. I'm here to reclaim my car. Wedding's off, so hand over my keys. Dylan's face plummeted. I almost gave you a final chance, clearly wasted. Don't force me to break up with you. We're already broken up. Give me the keys to the car I paid for. I'm not letting you chauffeur your first love in my Porsche, it makes me sick. He crushed the key fob in his fist, unwilling, yet not daring the public embarrassment. After a beat he hurled it at me. Who wants your lousy car? He spun away. I called after him. Wait. He whirled back, eyes bloodshot. Serena. My credit card too. Dylan exploded, glaring. You think this will make me cave? Impossible, unless. I cut him off with mocking boredom. Just give the card back, less talk. His cheeks turned liver-colored. Taking everything back blindsided him. Strip away what my family gave him and he has nothing, is nothing, his salary alone can't buy respect. He hesitated, returning it might leave him without cab fare. I didn't soften. What, Rowan? Unwilling? Out of 5 years sentiment, I'll gift you the car if you stand in the lobby and publicly admit you're a social climbing opportunist. Dylan's mouth stayed stubborn. It was mine to begin with, I don't need your gift. I laughed coldly. Need me to give you an on-the-spot lecture on premarital property law? His face could have dripped thunder. Serena, money doesn't make you God. Throwing cash to force me back will only drive me further away. Then start by returning the car and the card. His fists clenched so tight the knuckles cracked. You know I never carry cash. Strip the car and the card and I can't even commute. A country boy who'd grown addicted to plastic, what a sap I'd been. I sneered. That's your problem, ex-boyfriend. In a fury he yanked out his wallet, slammed it and the key together onto the pavement. I don't want any of it. And don't you beg me to take it back. Zoe couldn't stomach his attitude and started forward. I held her back and bent to pick them up. Chloe leapt forward at once. Dylan, don't be mad. I have money, my whole savings, take it. She stuffed cash, credit cards, debit cards, everything, into his hands. As far as I knew, Chloe had been a professional moocher since graduation, living off Dylan. How much could her account hold? Yet Dylan's ears reddened, visibly moved. Chloe. Seeing him tear up, as if regretting he hadn't chosen her back then, turned my stomach. Chloe turned to me, eyes rimmed red. Vance, I can't match your fortune, but I love Dylan more than you do. I'd never humiliate him in public just to spite him. I watched the backs of the two of them and smiled. Zoe, standing beside me, teased, and you can still laugh. What about the wedding in a few days? The wedding goes ahead as planned. That evening, Mom and Dad called me home for dinner. To meet my future in-laws, Liam. In my memory, the boy had been skinny and forever sniffing. Years later, he was simply breathtaking, his chiseled face like something a portraitist had labored over. The moment he heard I'd agreed to the strategic alliance, he flew back from overseas, travel-worn and exhausted. Serena, are you absolutely sure? I knew he meant the wedding and assumed he already had someone he loved. I said, if you're not willing, you can still back. His eyes reddened, he cut me off fiercely. If you're willing, we file the marriage certificate tomorrow. Me? You chose this. I'm not giving you another chance to change your mind. I stared in shock. Sure, we'd been engaged since we were kids, but aside from obligatory family dinners we'd had zero private contact. Back when I'd tried to break it off because of Dylan, Liam hadn't reacted at all, yet now he was in this frantic hurry. His words made me feel he'd liked me for a very Rowan time. Before I could question him, Mom and Dad spoke up and sealed the deal. The two families were old acquaintances. At that dinner, once both sets of parents confirmed we were willing, the wedding arrangements were settled on the spot. At the table Liam's sudden declaration of love caught me completely off guard. He'd fallen for me back in Rosewood when I kept beating up the boys who bullied him, but we'd been too young to know the difference between liking and loving. At a middle school reunion I'd cracked a joke in front of everyone about how frail he used to be, wounding his pride. He swore he'd erase that weak image from my mind and took up martial arts. He'd gone abroad for high school, thinking distance might make me notice his worth. Instead, I started dating Dylan and declared I'd marry no one else. He knew that once I made a decision only I could change it, so he prepared to let that decades-rowan crush rot forever in the dark. Then I broke up with Dylan, and he rushed home. After hearing his secret love saga, my parents wanted me married on the spot. Honestly, I'd accepted the alliance partly out of pique. But after Liam's confession, faced with the one I love versus the one who loves me, I chose the one who loves me. Early next morning Liam came pick me up to file the marriage certificate. I couldn't resist teasing him, in such a hurry. His eyes were red, a little pitiful. I've waited 25 years. Fine. My question was redundant. I thought he'd simply been too excited and arrived early, but he actually drove an hour out of the way to take me for spicy eel noodles. I jabbed, after so many years in the States, you can still handle this level of heat? Anything you like, I like. His words dragged me back to group dinners in school. Whenever I picked hot pot, skewers, frog, eel, anything fiery, the rest of the gang bailed, and only Liam silently tagged along. I always did the ordering. I thought he shared my taste. Now I realize those first few times he barely touched his chopsticks. This time he ordered, and every dish landed squarely on my taste buds. He ate happily too. Nothing is innate, it's all compromise for love. Liam was willing to change for me. Dylan ate bland food. I once suggested hot pot and he said the smell made him sick. For 5 years I was the only one yielding. Love versus no love, so glaringly obvious. Throughout the meal Liam was gentle and attentive, chatting with me about everything under the sun. I suddenly felt the past 5 years had been wasted and began looking forward to my wedding with him. That breakfast was the happiest I'd been in 5 years. Good mood means big appetite and lots of drinks, which means frequent bathroom trips, only to run, lucklessly, into Dylan and Chloe again. He struck first. Serena, will you ever stop? You made a scene at Sterling Vance yesterday, and now you're stalking me to a restaurant. Disgusting. His loathing had hit rock bottom. Obviously, yesterday's public slap and my failure to beg forgiveness last night meant today's full-blown humiliation. I stared at him expressionless, his twisted face repulsed me. In that instant, the man I'd loved for 5 years simply vanished from my heart. It's breakfast hour, I'm here to eat. You're over. Thinking. You never dine out alone, especially not this early. Who are you fooling? Dylan was convinced I was shadowing them out of jealousy. He wouldn't hear otherwise. He sneered, you threw your tantrum yesterday and I made it clear, once Chloe heals, I'll marry you. She's been stuck on bland food and was craving a treat, so I'm taking her to breakfast. How Rowan are you going to haunt us? For 5 years he'd refused to bring me here. Chloe eats bland for a few days and he races her over. My face went cold. You eat yours, I eat mine. We stay out of each other's way. Keep lying. Who gets up at dawn to treat you to breakfast? Seeing me alone, he refused to believe I had company. Chloe smiled sweetly. Vance, eating alone isn't shameful, but your words are a bit. She paused, then smirked. Solo dining can be lonely. Why not join us? Who says she's having breakfast alone? Chloe had barely finished when Liam strode to my side, worry etched on his face. You were gone so Rowan, was the spice too much? Nah, just ran into the ex, exchanged a few words. Following my gaze, Liam's tenderness drained, replaced by a glacial stare that cut like a winter night. Dylan gaped. Mr. Sterling. He couldn't believe it, eyes darting between Liam and me. You and the manager? I took a detour specifically to bring Serena here for breakfast. Problem? Chloe, taking in Liam's European-tailored suit and carved features, flashed a jealous look. Dylan eyed me with contempt. Serena, this is low, even for you. Throwing your family name around, dragging my boss here to play along just to force me to ditch Chloe. You think a stunt like this will make me crawl back? Dream on. I'm never turning around. His accusation stunned me, then I found it hilarious. Dylan, the ego on you. Am I supposed to believe you're the last man on earth? With my status, any guy at my side outranks you. Why would I hang myself on your one lousy tree? That pushed him over the edge. He lost a LL filter. Serena, the whole world knows you're a doormat girlfriend. In college you dogged my steps, shouted you'd marry no one but me at my birthday, and you're still stalking me. You can't even simp right. Bang, Liam's fist connected. Dylan clutched his face. You hit me? Raina is my wife and your boss's wife. Speak like that again and I'll end you. Coward that he is, Dylan didn't dare challenge Liam. He could only vent his rage on me. Serena, you've got some nerve. Dylan spat. Planning to marry me while flirting with Sterling. Did you sleep with him? No wonder he's playing along. Liam lifted his foot and sent Dylan flying, pinned him to the ground, and drove punch after punch into his body. I've told you, Serena is my wife. Show her respect. Dylan, dazed, gasped, Sterling, Serena is my fiancée. How can you help her stage this farce? Then the anger hit. I'm me first, your employee second. Hit me again and I hit back. I'm beating you as Serena's husband. A murderous flush climbed Dylan's face. Don't push it. Afraid the scene would cost Dylan his job, Chloe yanked his arm. Let it go, Dylan. It's not the only place that serves breakfast, we'll find another. We got here first. This isn't his private diner. Chloe suddenly clapped a hand over her mouth, retching, her face chalk white. She didn't need to speak, Dylan was already frantic. Ching, I'm getting you to the hospital right now. He never looked back, not once, as he disappeared. Liam started after him, but I caught his sleeve. Leave it. If someone ends up hurt, it's not worth it. At my words Liam understood. Rage flashed across his face. He treats you like dirt and you just take it? You're not even legally married yet, and he already thinks he owns you, planning to keep a second household on the side. Watching the man who had just defended me so fiercely, now heartsore and helpless because I'd stopped him, I couldn't help smiling. Relax, I'm fine. Liam looked stricken. Almost aggrieved. If you still love him, you can back out now. He assumed a woman who could stomach Chloe's pregnancy must be hopelessly in love with Dylan. In fact, I'd only just learned about it myself. Head beginning to throb, I eyed him. Finished eating? Then let's go file the marriage certificate. Liam's eyes lit up. Yes. While we queued at City Hall my phone buzzed nonstop. When our number was called, Dylan texted, Serena, quit this childish game. I'm taking Ching to the hospital, later we'll talk. What's wrong? Liam saw my pen hovering and tensed, afraid I'd change my mind. Looking at his worried face, then at Dylan's message, I felt, nothing. The man who loves you never needs an excuse. For marrying you, he only feels anticipation. I blocked Dylan on every channel. Nothing, spam. I pocketed the phone, lifted the pen, and completed the form. The moment the red booklet landed in my hand, Liam's cool composure cracked. He swept me into a bear hug in front of everyone, grinning like a fool. After the paperwork we shot wedding photos. His mother presented the 7-piece bridal gold set, a penthouse, and a car. I didn't lack any of it, but she insisted every ritual matters. It made me recall 5 years of giving to Dylan's mother, of never receiving so much as a home-cooked meal in return. On our wedding day Liam arrived early to pick me up. I never expected Dylan to show as well. Seeing me in my wedding gown, his brows snapped together. Serena, I told you we'd only postpone. You block me, then parade in white to force my hand. Why can't you give an inch? Disappointment drenched his voice. Why must I always be the one to coax you? I regarded him and felt no anger. Even now he believes I'm waiting. Today is just coercion. Expressionless, I said, Dylan, this is indeed my wedding, only the groom isn't you. Quite the stunt, faking a marriage to drag me back. Was the bottom really necessary? Dark-faced, he spoke like a man conceding defeat. You win. I'll marry you on schedule, now tell your manager to leave. His absurdity amused me. I smiled. Open your eyes, Dylan. Today I marry Liam, what's it to you? A fake wedding to force me back, no shame at all. Before the last syllable dropped, Liam's fist connected. I thought I'd let you watch her happiness. Changed my mind, you're done here. Dylan, you're fired. Dylan gaped. On what grounds? You steal my fiancé and fire me, personal vendetta. So what if you're the boss? I'll file a complaint. He dialed HR on the spot. Minutes later HR rang back. The boss's son had terminated him, severance would follow regulations, no escalation would change a thing. Liam had started on the shop floor after graduation, wanting to bond with coworkers. He'd never flaunted his pedigree, and after promotion saw no need. Until now everyone assumed he was just another salaried grunt. The reversal floored Dylan. Liam, this is abuse of power. So you're the heir, still doesn't give you the right to steal my fiancé. I can sue you. In short, Dylan simply refused to believe Serena had actually married Liam. Liam held his temper only to keep our day spotless, but Dylan's arrogance wore through. He produced the red booklet. Here's our marriage license, verify it if you like. Serena is my wife, she has nothing to do with you. Interfere again and I won't be polite. Dylan stood as if lightning struck. The crimson booklet, he stared at the couple's names, their joint photo, turned to stone. Impossible. He had only delayed the wedding a few days, Serena was merely sulking, how could she marry someone else? If he hadn't gone home this morning to find the penthouse emptied and sold, he would never have believed she meant it. She had sworn she would only ever marry him. Yet here he was, and she was still marrying another man. Wife, let's go. Liam scooped me into his arms and carried me through a corridor of confetti to our bridal car. I never once glanced at Dylan. The ceremony was lavish, flawless. I heard a drunk later insisted he was the rightful groom and tried to crash the reception. Security hurled him out. Afterward, Liam took me to the new penthouse he had prepared. The layout, the furnishings, so similar to the penthouse I had shared with Dylan, almost mirrors. The difference, that one I had personally overseen. Startled, I wondered how he knew. We hadn't been in touch, and taste changed since childhood. Reading my puzzlement, he smiled. I flew back often, you just never looked away from him to notice. Now I understood those moments I'd felt eyes on me, so frequent I once feared ghosts and dragged my mom to a temple. Her hesitant expression suddenly made sense. Warmth filled me, though my tone stayed teasing. Peeping doesn't exactly reveal decor preferences. Liam rubbed the back of his neck, abashed. I shamelessly asked your mom for your Finnish schedule. Simple idea, save time when you eventually moved in. That sentence piqued my interest. I hadn't realized his love for me was so calculated. How did you know Dylan and I would break up? A year ago I caught him with Chloe in the company garage. He didn't finish, raw pity filled his eyes, and anyone could guess the rest. Only then did I understand that Dylan and Chloe had betrayed me Rowan ago. Their backseat hookups hadn't been limited to the one I'd walked in on. So if I'd never found out, you were prepared to watch me become another man's bride? Liam lifted me onto his lap and produced a file. I'd already compiled proof of his cheating. If you hadn't discovered it, I was going to hand it to you the night before the wedding. When I reached for it, Liam tossed the papers aside. He hugged me tightly. Does my lady really want to spend her wedding night gagging over garbage? I smiled shyly. My husband's right. The bridal night is worth 1,000 ounces of gold. After we married, Liam treated me like a queen. During work hours we were swamped at our separate ices. The instant the day ended he would pick me up and keep me out until past midnight. He said he was repaying every minute he once owed me. Many nights I woke at 2 a.m. and found the bed empty. He'd be in the study, exhausted, a pot of coffee beside him. Our eyes suddenly met. The moment he noticed me he hurried over. Why are you awake? You should finish work before planning midnight dates, I answered. He shook his head solemnly. No matter how busy I am, I can't neglect you. A deep swell of gratitude wrapped itself quietly around my heart. The heir who controlled an entire family empire would rather sacrifice sleep and work until dawn than come home late to his wife. Meanwhile, some ordinary employee uses overtime as an excuse to stay out, or not come home at all. Love and the lack of it are glaringly obvious. I shut his laptop. You need a healthy body to sleep. No more all-nighters. Liam tapped the tip of my nose and gave an indulgent smile. My lady's word is law. At dawn I silenced his alarm so he could rest and decided to cook him breakfast myself. I never expected to run into Dylan, whom I hadn't seen in a month, outside the door. That month Liam still hadn't found a job. Chloe was pregnant, fragile, on constant bed rest, and her parents' business had collapsed, so she needed cash. Bit by bit she bled Dylan dry of the savings he'd accumulated over years. Cornered, he finally remembered how good I'd been to him. Pouring out vows of love, he hinted he wanted to come back. Days of neglect had aged him, stubble covered his once handsome face. Rara, you're the only one I've ever loved. That child is her scheme, not mine. You're the one I've always wanted to marry. Affection that arrives too late is cheaper than weeds. Before I could answer he rushed at me. Rara. I stepped back, avoiding his touch, my voice ice. Rowan, control yourself. My husband is asleep upstairs. If you can't behave, I'll have security throw you out. Undeterred, he stretched his hand out again. Rara, are you really ready to throw away 5 years just like that? What else would I do? I gave a cold laugh. Abandon the husband who truly loves me, come back to you, clean up your Chloe mess, and bankroll you with my fortune? His scheme exposed, panic flashed in his eyes. Yet his skin was thick, the honeyed speeches kept flowing. Rara, I've never loved your money. Otherwise I wouldn't have resisted you at the start, right? True. In the beginning he hadn't liked me. It wasn't my background he disliked, he despised the rich. He was convinced that, birth aside, he equaled anyone, so he vented every grievance on me. Life had always been smooth for me, meeting someone who detested me became a challenge I had to conquer. Once Dylan tasted what shortcut money could do, he softened, and I foolishly believed my sincerity had moved him. The past is the past. People have to look forward, rehashing it is pointless. I called security and had him escorted out. Rara, I regret it. His voice drifted farther away until it vanished, just like what remained between us, shrinking until we disappeared from each other's worlds. When I turned, Liam was leaning against the doorframe, watching. How Rowan have you been there? I asked in surprise. From the moment you called me the husband who truly loves you. I curved my lips. You showed up early yet didn't help. He pulled me into his arms, teasing. I trusted my wife to handle it. I stared at him. Such a sweet tongue. It's sweet because you're here. Heat climbed my ears, the man was slick. Still, I adored it. I haven't cooked breakfast yet. Where did this oil come from? Liam bent to kiss me and whispered with a wicked grin, you fed it to me. My cheeks burned. I'm starving, let's go out for breakfast. I'll feed you. Before I could process, he swept me into his arms and headed upstairs. Baffled, I asked, aren't we going out? We'll eat in. Fine. By the end I was even hung. Rear. A year later, while vacationing in Mauritius, I discovered I was pregnant. Afraid I'd get sick overseas, Liam sent me home on his private jet. Zoe dropped by, mentioned my ex in passing. Chloe had drained Dylan dry with the pretense of saving the baby. In the end she claimed the fetus had died. In truth she'd already aborted it. When Dylan learned the facts he lost his mind and nearly beat Chloe to death in public. Bitch, you lied about bed rest to bleed me dry, then secretly killed my child. It's all your fault I lost the woman who loved me most. You tore up my golden ticket, Serena. Why should I give you a baby? You deserve nothing from me. Bitch, I'll kill you. If the crowd hadn't dragged him off, he would have strangled her that day. Listening, I felt nothing, as if I'd never met the man. A year later I gave birth to our daughter. 3 years after that, Liam and I picked her up from Rosewood. As she climbed into the car I sensed someone watching, but when I looked around no one was there. Babe, what's wrong? Liam noticed at once. I gave him a soft smile and shook my head. Nothing. Let's take our princess to the amusement park. Thanks for listening to today's story. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with friends. We look forward to reading your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more wonderful stories. See you next time.